there's a moment when Hulk and Ross are fighting, and you just hear Hulk yell, "Hulk is not a monster!" Like, to me that breaks my heart. What's going on, guys? It's the WWDYT crew. We are back for a new video of our comic book club, and it's me, Omid.
It's me, Alvin.
We got Alvin here, and today I'm actually very excited. What's with the face? I'm actually very excited for the book that we're going over today. It was my pick. I believe the last one Amir and Alvin did was I don't know if it was Life Story or what was the last book you guys went over in this book club review?
I think it was Life Story.
Cool, Life Story. So we haven't done this in a while, but as we've always been saying on this channel, is if the movies aren't giving us the stories we want, there are tons of well-written comic books that are delivering on that. And today, the one that Alvin and I are discussing is Hulk Gray by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, and it was a awesome read. I think it came out like 2002. And for those of you who haven't read it, it's like essentially a retelling or like a revision into Hulk's origin, kind of going into what happened after the gamma testing and how that affects Bruce Banner. And essentially, this whole book is going over the first appearance of Hulk and everyone's reaction to Hulk. Alvin, someone isn't, I think, a super big Hulk fan as I am. I'm really curious. When I told you, Alvin, about this story and recommending it to you, what were your thoughts?
When you told me about the story, immediately I was like, oh, I really want to read this. So I'm very thankful to have a friend and a person in my life, like Omid Herjurnia, to lend me this book. And I read it, and it's a very easy read. It was like literally, it took one, before I went to bed, I finished it.
Yeah.
It was very compelling, very engaging, and yeah, it was a really, really solid Hulk story where it kind of encapsulates Bruce Banner and Hulk into I believe it was what, like 6 issues?
Yep, 6 issues.
6 issues, and like now it just makes me want to read more Hulk stories, which is a shame that we don't have a really good live action Hulk, but this really scratches the itch of the rageful, remorseful Hulk Bruce Banner character.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, I'm wearing these glasses as my Bruce Banner glasses, but they'll go ahead and come off right now.
He's
For
hulking out. He's hulking out.
I am hulking out. When it comes to Hulk and Bruce, I truly love this character, and as Alvin has said, for the longest time, I think the MCU hasn't really done a great job of portraying Hulk, because to me, and I think to a lot of people, what makes Hulk interesting is not really the action or the big boxing matches. To me, what makes me love Hulk so much is all the introspective uh, themes that these stories have. And what I love so much about this book is it is told essentially in like a therapy session between Bruce Banner and Dr. Leonard Sampson, and he's kind of going over um, essentially his first time becoming Hulk and kind of trying to come to terms with, like, oh, is this something that like he should accept within him, or is this a problem? And I think it was just very refreshing, because when I'm reading this book, you can actually see the influences that it had on 2007's Incredible Hulk, or is it 2008?
2008.
2008. And it's just, I think what makes Hulk just super interesting is the idea of, like, oh, it's essentially a curse. Every other superhero is almost like a blessing or something to uh, be grateful for, but for this, Hulk does something very selfless by trying to save what is his name? Is it Rick? What is it? The young,
Rick.
yeah, Rick.
Yeah.
He saves him
Yeah.
during the testing, during the nuclear testing, and from there it turns into Hulk. And I think it's just, I don't know, I'm almost at a loss of words, because, like, as a little Hulk fan inside of me, like, this is everything I would have wanted. And I was actually very happy he was never green in this. I actually thought it was quite charming uh, that he's gray, because I think it almost even plays into the idea of, like, oh, this isn't like clean cut. Oh, Hulk is a bad thing. Bruce is right. It's like truly gray. There's good things to both of them, and I don't know. I was a huge fan of it. Jeff Loeb Goat. He did, I also think, Long Halloween.
Yes, I have that on
Yeah,
my counter. Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Alvin's been reading through Long Halloween, and I just I I want to go over some of like our favorite moments in this. For me, I think I don't know if I told you it, but I actually really love essentially Hulk has the problem with confessing his love, almost his love, and Bruce has the same problem of confessing his love to Betty because in this story when Hulk's out and he goes into Betty's like house and kind of knocks on the door, and there's a really beautiful panel between the two of you. Just see a wall separating the two. You see very small Betty and you see Hulk just being like waiting at the door, like trying to talk to her, and just his inability to confess how he truly feels is it's I don't know, it's like almost it's heartbreaking. Like Hulk is just a creature who wants to be loved and who wants to love, but everyone around him hates and fears him, and it's sad.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think I also love how Hulk just looks so
Derpy.
ugly.
Yeah.
He's so gross. Like he just looks like exactly. He's You're right. Derpy is the perfect term, and like those panels are always hilarious, but also like the art in the book is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the
Like here's a
story,
panel. Look at like just look. He has like messed up teeth. He's like also I like he's kind of not jacked. Like he's just big. I think it
yeah,
makes it
he's like
almost more
tubby.
charming. Yeah, it makes it more charming. He's like a big baby. I don't
Yeah.
know. I love the guy.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So I guess going into favorite parts of the book, I have a few that just stick at the top of my head right now. Um, the first one is the end of the first issue when it was like at that moment Bruce and Hulk had the same exact thought, and it was about Betty.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that one was really, really well done, and how um, it shows that even though they are different characters, essentially, they still have this deep love and care for one person. Like they share that, right? Another one is the rabbit. The rabbit
Yeah.
scene is so tragic, where he just wants to love and be loved. And something as innocent as an animal with no really like cognitive, like, they think differently than humans do.
They're more
So you would think that
instinctual.
like exactly, they're instinctual. So it's just tragic that Hulk looks for uh solace in this animal, and like
Mm.
he just can't get it, and he ends up just, like killing it. And that
Just
panel when
petting
you
it. Yeah.
see him petting it, and then he uses a finger to just like pet it, and
Yeah.
then the next panel is just dripping in blood, and then he just drops the rabbit. I'm like,
Mm.
that sucks. Like
In.
for just
Mm.
everything is just like the rabbit is dead. Hulk, he kind of realizes that it kind of makes him realize how much of a monster that he is perceived to be.
Mm.
Um,
Because
and
that. Mhm.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
Oh, so no, I think just when you talk about monster, I think that's truly what I love about this story so much. Is at the end of the day, I think it's Hulk is a very sensitive being. He's a very sensitive person, and throughout this entire book, every time he's seen by either soldiers or by Betty or by anyone, is you just see fear and like a sense of like disgust. And I love the line when Bruce and Ross are talking, or Hulk and Ross are talking at the very end, and he just keeps getting called, "You're a monster! You're a monster! You're a monster!" And they keep shooting at him. And Hulk is like, never. If when you watch this, I don't think Hulk kills anybody. I think he's only defending himself. And there's a moment when Hulk and Ross are fighting, and you just hear Hulk yell, "Hulk is not a monster!" Like to me that breaks my heart because like it's you're being told by everyone around you that you are this terrible creature, this terrible being, and he's like, I'm literally not doing anything, just me existing. You're saying I'm terrible, and it's the same thing with the dichotomy between Bruce and Hulk, because I believe in this too. Whenever Hulk hears Bruce's name mentioned, I think Hulk is also like, oh, I hate Bruce, and that stuff is just it's just chef's kiss. And Ross, complete asshole, which It was I haven't seen Brave New World. Did you see Brave New World?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, because I don't know. I feel like that's also something that the MCU they had a great job with him in the very first uh, Incredible Hulk of just kind of showing this man's like obsession and like desire to constantly hunt this monster. And in this, I was truly disgusted and annoyed by like when Ross is trying to take him out, all of his soldiers like General Ross, like we can't stop Hulk because if we try to stop him, we're gonna hit you in the process of it. And Ross is like, I don't give a shit. Do it. Kill this guy. If it kills me, it's fine. Like fuck this guy over. And you just see it, it's like he truly like as it mentioned, like Ross is the real monster between the two, and he's totally normal. He's a normal human, and everyone is okay with it. But just for a monster or a creature who looks different, they're like, oh, I hate you.
Hmm.
Sad. And also, I loved.
Yeah.
I also loved. Did you know when they were in the conference room, uh, there was a guy with a briefcase and a mustache that was listening to the government agents talking, slick back hair, really like Chad. And when I saw, it, I was like, this guy looks kind of like Tony Stark. And then like a couple of panels later, you see that he's like, you know what? If you need help with the Hulk problem, I got it. And you have Iron Man come in, and I love it in his first appearance, gold Iron Man costume.
Yes.
And what was great is Bruce is talking to Dr. Samson. Dr. Samson's like, this never happened. Like the first time the Hulk fought the Avengers was like in New York, and Bruce is like, the reason why that you guys don't know this happened is because they never told anyone about it. That I wiped the floor with Iron Man, and it was just it was an awesome fight.
Yeah. I that whole introduction of like Tony and he was like, "Oh, you have a problem? I'm the
Yeah,
solution."
yeah,
And he like goes and like fights him and the fact that Hulk just like wipes him clean just
mm-hmm.
and it's because of like Betty from what I remember, right? Like he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
save Betty because
Iron
Iron Man
Man
is trying to save Betty.
from yeah, Iron Man is trying to get Hulk away from Betty because he's saying, "Oh, leave the woman alone. It's between us. I'm trying to save her." And Hulk has the
Yes.
same perception of like, "Oh, you're trying to attack me. I'm trying to protect her. You're in the way of this. I'm gonna have to stop you," type thing.
Yes, exactly. So I like that dynamic. And then I think that Uh, I just like Doc Samson, and I
Mm-hmm.
wish that Ty Burrell came back. Um,
Was that who he was
he would,
playing?
yeah, that's the
It actually
character.
he was playing Leonard Sampson in the movie.
Yes.
Oh wow, I never because what, so was he dating Betty in that too or no? 'Cause I didn't
He,
know. 'Cause I didn't know
I
if he was like the
guess,
rival.
yeah, because they were together, and then he just disappears when Hulk kidnaps Betty,
Yeah.
and then he's just out of the movie.
So he's for sure Leonard Sampson though.
He is.
Bring this guy back in Captain America 5. Captain America 5, Leonard Sampson.
No, don't say that. Don't say Captain America 5 because I don't want another Captain America movie to be a
To be a
pseudo Hulk
Hulk.
movie.
Yeah.
That is a totally different discussion,
Yeah.
but I think you're right about the introduction, how it's gray. Yeah, his first appearance, he was gray. So I do appreciate that aspect of the lore where when he hulked out for the first time, I guess it was something about the gamma or whatever, but he was gray. And I love how I guess the last frame of the story is when he
Color.
leaves Samson's and then he's green.
Hmm.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
chef's kiss,
But
right?
also, can I ask you, what were your thoughts on the dog and the owner analogy? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
So it was the
yes.
idea, for those who haven't read it, it was the idea of an abusive owner and a dog. And this owner keeps, I believe, a dog tied up to a tree. And I think he keeps
Hmm.
shooting the gun around the dog, not hitting the dog or anywhere near the dog, just close enough to get that sound in the dog where the dog is in a state of anxiety and fear. And it was the idea of constantly triggering this dog and keep like in a way torturing it. And it was referencing that Bruce felt that he was the dog and Ross was the owner of him constantly coming in his life and destroying it and ruining it. But I thought what was great was in this analogy, it was between Hulk and Iron Man fighting. But if you're looking at the panels of what their panels are showing and what they're saying, it's almost mirroring that like it was a line of like, oh, the dog was getting kept on a chain while the gun was being shot, but you see Iron Man's trying to fly away and Hulk's pulling on him. and it's like making you think, is Hulk supposed to be the dog or the owner? And even Dr. Sampson asks that question. He's like, in this scenario, Bruce, are you the dog or the owner? And I think Bruce says something along the lines like, I sometimes don't know, or something like that. Like he doesn't know sometimes. Like it changes. And I just thought that was just very interesting because obviously Ross is terrible, but like in this scenario, I'm like, shit, is Bruce the owner?
Hmm. Um, I was trying to think about it right now as you're talking about it. Do you think there's also a conversation to be had about Bruce and
And
Hulk in the context of the dog and the owner?
so Bruce is the dog, or one is the dog. I'm guessing Bruce is the owner and Hulk is the dog.
Yeah.
Or was that what you were referring to, or reverse?
I don't know. I was just thinking about it when you were discussing it right now. I'm like,
Mm,
that would be kind of interesting
that'd be
to
sad.
explore
That'd be.
where it's like the dog analogy can apply to both Bruce and Hulk.
Mhm.
But for me, I haven't gotten to that point where I thought about who's the owner and who's the dog yet.
Uh-huh.
But you see what I'm saying? Where like I feel like it can even apply to those two in the context of this story.
I can see that too because in uh the other Hulk story I read, it was called The End, and it's the constant idea of Hulk feels that he is being imprisoned by Bruce in a way. So in this
Mhm.
scenario, maybe because that also was the first time he's ever transformed as Hulk during that scene. Uh, but I can possibly see that Bruce is the owner and Hulk is the dog, and he feels so imprisoned and tortured by this because he's never able to come out. And whenever he does come out, everyone keeps touting, Hulk, you're the problem. You ruined this guy's life. We don't want you here. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess it can be taken in multiple different ways. Uh, I don't know if you felt this. This is like uh, the hopeless romantic in me for Hulk. Because obviously you want Hulk to be loved, and multiple times throughout the story, obviously very warranted, is Betty is not comfortable and she's very scared because she doesn't know who the Hulk is, and Hulk tries doing all these very kind things for her, and what I think is probably one of the strongest scenes in the movie or in the book is Hulk accidentally hits her when he's fighting Iron Man, and she has like a huge gash in her head, and she's like I believe knocked out. You can see instant regret and fear in Hulk's eyes, and he takes her to a cave and then goes to a gas station to just get medical supplies. And when he's there to get medical supplies, he's trying to help patch up Betty, and Betty's mad at him and yelling at him. And for me, when I'm reading this, I'm like, Betty, just tell the Hulk you love him. Like, come on, this is what the
Yeah.
Hulk needs to hear right now. And I'm like, it's, and just Hulk is just a sad little dog, and I'm like, he just wants someone to love him, and he wants that someone to be Betty, and it's just it's a great scene. The movie pulled from that, and the cave scene in the Incredible Hulk, which was awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I it felt like a child, like he just felt like a kid at that time,
Hmm.
and then it felt like an adult kind of chastising a kid, like, hey,
Yeah. Reprimand.
behave yourself, you kind of do better, like do like she's teaching him a lesson because brain or Hulk doesn't have the brain capacity to kind of learn at that point, right? He's still new, he's still like a baby pretty much, considering the action that just happened. But I think that dynamic was good. That cave scene, it was probably one of the best issues in the story. It sticks out so much to me because of the dynamic between. And I forgot about this. I think I told you this when I finished reading it, but I forgot that like Betty doesn't know who Hulk is.
Yeah. In this
She
story,
she
she
just
doesn't.
thinks, yeah. I love that aspect of the mythos where it's like I always forget how cool it is when heroes have a secret identity
Mm-hmm.
because you are very much missing that in
Yeah. Absolutely.
modern superhero stories where like everyone knows who these heroes are. And I love it when it's intrigue, it's mystery. I feel like your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man did that really well where it kind of harken back to its original comic origins where like Peter does have a secret identity. Granted, I feel like in the show like seven people already know his identity. And I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, bro, like
They did it
relax.
well in the beginning, but yeah, all of his friends know. I feel like some
Yeah,
of the villains know, like everyone knows it's Spider-Man, but I agree.
exactly.
Hmm.
But you see where I'm coming from, where it's like I think that aspect of like I wonder if Betty would feel differently about Hulk if she knew the Hulk was Banner.
I agree because that made me so sad throughout this whole book. I'm like, because he can't express how he truly feels, and that's what Dr. Samson's saying. Because when Bruce is talking to the Samson, he keeps essentially saying how he doesn't have the capacity or the ability to tell her how he feels, and Dr. Samson says something along the lines of like, saying the words "I love you" can be the three hardest words to say in the English language. And you just see that for Hulk. It's like, because I wish she knew it was Bruce, because I'm like, this being loves you regardless, and he just wants you to accept him, but he can't express who he really is or what he really wants. Because I think when she's asking, like, oh, why'd you take me? Like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I just want to protect you, rather than him saying, oh, I love you. It's like, come on, man, like just say it. It's like
Yeah,
Hulk. I want Hulk to have his happy ending, and it's something that is sorely missed in the MCU, and that's kind of what I also want this discussion to be, because it makes me very happy as a reader to kind of see this um, dual personality of the two characters. And for me, what actually really sucks about the MCU is how they melded the two so quickly. How they already did Professor Hulk. He truly never had any problems with anger, because in Avengers 1, as he states, I control because I'm always angry, which to me is so stupid. Uh, that I think they fundamentally have they misrepresented the character. I think in all regards after the Incredible Hulk. I think Ragnarok does a cool job at times, but most of the time Hulk is just relegated to being either the comedic relief or just the big action set piece. And I also feel like he hasn't done the action well, because he gets his ass beat by Thanos and never gets a chance to run it back. So I'm like, who are you pleasing? I don't know. It's
yeah,
Deb. Like what?
yeah. Say hi to your
So
mother for
stupid.
me.
Yeah, so stupid. So stupid. Where's Abomination?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Uh, I remember when Infinity War and Endgame were coming out, and then I think the Russos were like, "Oh, we're big Hulk fans. We're doing justice to this character." And then Endgame came out, and then did Smart Hulk, and then
Yeah.
all the fans were like, "Nah, these guys were capping so hard. They
This is
don't
not
know
what we
what the Hulk
wanted.
is like."
This is not what we
Exactly.
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hulk is a curse. Hulk
Uh,
is supposed to be a curse.
I actually think my favorite iteration of the Hulk is in Avengers 1.
Hmm.
I think Joss Whedon really understands that character. It really felt like a curse, and then at the end of that
Really?
movie, yeah, I think so. I think Avengers 1 is like my favorite version of Ruffalo as Bruce Banner and Hulk. And it's kind of been diminishing returns since,
Uh huh.
in my opinion.
Do
I
you
think
like?
Edward Norton
Uh huh.
and Mark Ruffalo, that those two movies do Hulk really well for
So
me.
no, because that's interesting to me. So what about Avengers 1? Do you feel like is the curse of it? Is it just he's like kind of tortured or reclusive, or like? Because I feel like Edward Norton does a great job, and it's not like me saying you're wrong. I'm just curious of Avengers 1, because I haven't seen the movie in so long. I
Yeah.
feel like mainly I just remember uh, Hulk chasing Black Widow in the helicarrier, and then I'm always angry. That's kind of all
Yeah.
I remember of Hulk.
I think Banner has always been throughout that movie. I think he was very reluctant to join the initiative to help Fury out. So then
Hmm.
when they bring him on the helicarrier, I think he was very nervous. And then, the Mind Stone was doing its manipulation to all of them. And then I think when Hawkeye does the attack, and then Hulk or Bruce Banner is just like trying not to Hulk out, trying to repress it, and then he just like
Oh yeah.
looks at Natasha,
Uh,
and he looks so like the acting there is really good. Like he looks so defeated that he can't suppress this monster,
you can't
and
control it.
yeah, you see the regret in his eyes, whether it's Banner or like Hulk mid transformation. You see the regret, and I feel like that look can kind of encapsulate this character really, like in a screenshot. If you show that screenshot, I feel like it just encapsulates who this character is,
Because it's like
where
a time
he's
bomb in a
trying
way.
so hard. Exactly. He uses
Yeah.
that analogy where it's like it's a time bomb.
Yeah. Damn.
So it's inevitable that this will come out. But again, like a time bomb depends on how much time you have.
Yeah, because when you are saying that, actually, I do remember that scene. Like, oh, when he's like knocked down in the helicarrier, he's like really trying hard to control it. That is great
Yeah.
because yeah, it's like he's not really worried about himself. He's worried about everyone else around him and the damage he's about to do. Which that is actually sick. I feel like they really haven't done that since 2012, or really they haven't done it well ever since. And I don't think
Yeah.
they're gonna really. I feel like they lost their shot or their chance. I think he's done. I don't know how you
Yeah.
can redeem him. But I do think that was awesome, and I think he's obviously great in the Incredible Hulk. Have you watched Ang Lee's Hulk in a while?
The last time I saw, I think was like 2015.
You should
It's
watch
been
it
10
again.
years.
Or what are your thoughts on it?
It was good. It's the Raimi era of comic movies, so
Hmm.
it feels like it would slot in well with Bryan Singer's X-Men, Raimi's Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. Like it feels like it fits into that era of Marvel,
Hmm.
which is that's his job. It accomplished that job. I think Eric Bana was a really good Bruce Banner, and I like the aspect of the anger he gets, the bigger, like he can
Hmm.
say change size.
Yeah,
Um, but besides that, I don't remember too much. I remember his dad was like the villain. He was Absorbing
yeah.
Man, I think.
Yeah, it's great because little tangent. If you guys haven't seen English Hulk, if you haven't watched it in a long time, I think you guys should watch it. I think it honestly might be, or if it is probably the best Hulk movie, or Hulk outing in film, because it's a movie all about childhood trauma, and it's a very deep introspective movie, which I think Hulk should be. And for the father being the absorbing man, it is no other power is better for that because it's a guy who keeps taking and taking and taking from his son. What kind of villain should he be? It should be the absorbing man, wanting to take his power, and at the end of the movie, you feel like Hulk is truly a baby, and he's able to release. Because if you see, whenever Hulk is yelling in the movie, it always, instead of sounding like a scream, it sounds like a baby crying. And what's great about that movie is once he finally lets go of his trauma and gives it to his dad, that's kind of what stop. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it in 10 years, I highly recommend going back to it. I think you would be pleasantly surprised. Um, yeah, just as we're saying for these stories, I don't think Hulk has really been done well in a very long time. I'm happy you read this story, Alvin. There was another one I read that I have right here called Hulk: The End. If you guys have read it, it's a great story. It's in this trade paperback. It's actually 3 issues. The first 2 issues are of Maestro's first appearance, called Future Imperfect 1 and Future Imperfect 2. Phenomenal read. I didn't know who Maestro was up until I read this, and it's great. It's in 2 issues that you really get to understand who the character is and why I think he's been referenced in a lot of other video games and other just stories like, oh, the Maestro, and he's sick. And in the other Hulk, the end, it is what if Hulk is the last um, person on Earth, and kind of what that means. And it has a lot of great commentary on essentially nuclear weapons, the story of Prometheus and Oppenheimer, and Hulk being that. And it's a phenomenal read. It's a phenomenal read. As we close off our Hulk Gray run, was there anything that you didn't like about the story, Alvin, or anything that you would have wished they did instead?
Um, I think the story is so tight where I don't really have too many issues with the comic itself. What I wish they would have done, I don't think they could have done anything better without drastically changing the story they wanted to tell. Because if they introduced Hulk's rogues gallery, like the leader, Absorbing Man, Red Hulk,
It becomes not
etc.,
grounded at all.
etc. It's exactly where it loses sight of the story it's trying to tell. And I think the main objective is to show who the Hulk is, who Bruce Banner is, and who Thunderbolt Ross is. And I
Hmm.
think it does these 3 things really well. And if you introduce the more comic book elements, then you definitely don't get to tell this story.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we touched upon it, but the reason why Hulk is at Samson's apartment is because Betty's dead, right? Or
Oh
she's
yes, yes,
dying or
yeah,
something.
yeah. No, she's dead. She's already dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I was as a follow up to that. Spoiler, because we've been going into the story. In the end of his therapy session with Samson, I want to know what your thoughts are. I have it right here. I think he mentions the idea of possibly not being loved by Betty. Do you remember that? When uh, when at the end of the story, she's talking about as Hulk is trying to stop Ross, he's trying to kill him, and Betty's like, "No, please, you can't do it. I love this man." And Hulk is like, "Hulk, not understand. This person keeps hurting you. Why are you doing this?" And she's like, "He might not be the best person, but I love him, and he's still my father, so you can't kill him." And this is the panel of it right here. You just see Hulk choking out Thunderbolt Ross, and you see Betty's fear in her eyes, like, "You can't do this. You can't hurt him." And at the end of the story, uh, Bruce Banner or Bruce Ross and Betty all as they talk again. Uh, she's saying, "Oh, something along the lines of like, oh, hopefully we never see that Hulk monster again. He was like that day was terrible for all of us. The less we see of him, the better." And in this, at the end of the story, it's almost alluding that maybe Betty, or according to Bruce, Betty only loved Betty only loved Bruce because of the monster that she saw inside him, and that's kind of maybe commentary on the type of love that she's used to with her dad. What are your thoughts on that, Alvin?
Yeah, it seems like a generational trauma type thing where I'm not like I don't know. I'm gonna preface this by saying like I guess if she had daddy issues and like she kind of she saw that in her partner, someone who could
Ross,
be fixed,
or yes, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So from what I gathered, I from what I remember, I think Samson was more trying to help Bruce like calm him down,
Yeah,
but I think that Bruce was kind of convincing himself that Betty only loved him because he was a monster.
yes.
And then Samson is trying to convince him otherwise, right?
He's like that's right here. She's saying uh the why of it all, why Betty stayed with you all these years, and it's I think even in the story when Bruce was talking about Betty, when Hulk hit Betty on accident and how she reprimanded him, and in his mind he was being yelled at by her and berated, and Dr. Sampson is like, no offense to you, I know Betty, and I don't think she's this outspoken, very strong person. Is this something that happened, or is this what you think happened? And it almost calls back to this, like, oh, Bruce, are you just flipping this in your mind that you actually think that she didn't love you and it's just some sick way of trying to fix you and staying with you? He's like, think that doesn't make sense. She actually loved you for who you were, and I think Bruce has a tough time believing that, and I think that's just so tragic.
Yeah.
It's really sad. As Alvin was mentioning, the last panel of this story is in color, and I really have to give credit to Tim Sale. Like the art in this book is beautiful, and as we mentioned, I think it's very charming that Hulk is not some jacked monster, but more of like a a softer, tubbier version of Hulk, because I think it makes him in a way almost way more human, way more empathetic, way more sympathetic. It's I don't know. It's to me very charming. It's very charming, and just like I can't say enough of the art in this book. Like it's only like I think I got it maybe off eBay, like $20 off eBay. If you guys are looking for good Hulk stories, this is a really fast read, 6 issues, and it really just gives you a human look at Hulk, because I'm personally not interested in Hulk taking on Red Hulk or Hulk fighting these big bad other monsters. I'm like, no, I want I want to be introspective, and I think this book does a phenomenal job at it. Just as we're finishing off, do you think they did a good job of showing General Ross as well? I think, to me, I thought he was a true piece of shit, truly hateful person, and it was, I don't know, I hated him so much in this story, but
Yeah.
I think that's the purpose.
So that is the purpose. I read this book and then almost immediately, I think the next day I rewatched Incredible Hulk 2008. Also because it was the same week that Captain America was coming out,
Yeah,
so I just wanted to refresh my memory. So I think William Hurt can easily play this version of Ross,
yeah,
but I don't know Harrison Ford can.
yeah.
That's a whole other discussion, but I think what is it? Thunderbolt Ross is portrayed really well in this story. He's absolutely a monster. He is. I texted you this. I think I texted you that I love the idea that if it wasn't for Ross, then the people probably wouldn't perceive the Hulk as the monster that he thinks he is.
He's like
All of
spreading
this
this
stems,
hate.
yes, all of this stems from Thunderbolt Ross because he perceives the Hulk to be a monster, so he's spewing that and he's letting that be known like, hey, this is a monster. However, this man did not exist in Bruce Banner's world. I truly believe that the psyche and the whole narrative of the Hulk will be completely different, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, because it's like makes you question like, oh, is it like some type of like xenophobia or like sense of powerlessness? Like, what about Hulk does makes Ross's mind become so primal, so hateful? And as I mentioned, I think my favorite line in this was truly Hulk, not monster. That it's he's just being told by everyone around him like, oh, you are this terrible, terrible thing. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm not. Stop calling me that. Like, that to me is just so sad. Like, having to convince others like, no, I'm not this terrible thing that you keep saying I am is great. And I don't think we're getting a chance to see Thunderbolt Ross be something like this anymore because I think in Brave New World I haven't seen it. He's supposed to be on the turnaround, right? Of like learning his mistake and trying to be less hateful, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
I don't like I I have nothing to say about that movie in this video because it feels like that character in the movie is not
No.
the same character in this book.
Got the green one, damn it. That's not him anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anything else you have to ask, or anything else you want to discuss on Hulk Gray before we close this out?
Not really. It's just I have two things to say. It makes me want to read more of these colored lines. Spider-Man blue, Daredevil
Yes.
yellow, Captain America. Is it white?
White.
I don't.
Yeah. I heard that was the weakest of them all.
All right, I'm not including that one, but I'm
Yeah.
including the other two.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is the first Hulk book I've read. I've read stories including the Hulk, but this is the first title Hulk book I've read, and now it makes me want to read more Hulk books because it shows me how nuanced this character is. And I'm not just talking about Hulk, obviously I'm talking about Bruce Banner as well, and his that whole kind of world regarding this character. There's so much you can do with him, and this definitely scratched that itch because you don't get that in the MCU at all.
I agree. I agree. It's
Yeah.
that makes me very happy that you read this story because uh, like I know like some of your favorite Marvel heroes like Human Torch, Spider Man. I feel like this was a different type of read, and I'm very happy it hit with you as well as it did with me because I like we were saying the MCU hasn't really done a great job, and to me I think Hulk is a very tragic character, and just seeing this story humanize him in a way that I felt like hasn't really been done, or at least I haven't seen in popular culture, was truly awesome. And it like the other thing that I'm looking into reading is actually I don't know if you heard of have you heard of Immortal Hulk?
I think so.
Yeah, that is being touted as one of the best comic runs of all time. So I'm looking in the omnibus right now. It's like I think I don't even know how many issues is it. It's a lot. And I'm hearing it's a very introspective look into Hulk, and people are loving it. Uh, I'm really curious to read it. I'll try to make a video on that once I do get a chance to read it. Uh, keep an eye out. I might do a possible video on Hulk the End. I think it is something very interesting to say on if Hulk and Bruce on the idea of self hatred slash self preservation, because in the way Hulk is doing what he can to survive and due to Bruce hating Hulk so much, is Hulk really in the wrong? Because by Bruce trying to get rid of the Hulk, it's killing a person. And that idea of Hulk having to defend himself I think is truly very interesting. And as I mentioned, Hulk is essentially being positioned as a Prometheus or uh, a being to be punished for eternity for messing with nuclear power. Truly very interesting stuff. And what I did buy recently, I don't know if I told you, I bought Truth, Red, White, and Black, the story of Isaiah Bradley.
Oh,
Yeah, story of
yes.
Isaiah Bradley, and I think it was also just really nice with these comic books, just seeing kind of the different art style of it, because I was truly surprised the kind of art style it has. To me, it's very it looks very in a way cartoony or childish, but I think for Emmer told me it's a very common art style in like I said in the
Yeah.
African American community. So I'm very curious to read this. I think Isaiah Bradley is a truly interesting character, and yeah, I'm very excited. Is there anything you've been reading recently, or anything that you're planning on reading?
Planning on reading. I'm reading Mickey 7 right now because the movie came out. I'm
Is
planning on
Mickey
reading.
17 or Mickey 7?
The book is Mickey 7. The movie is
Movie
Mickey
is 17.
17.
Interesting. Same idea.
Same idea, pretty much.
So there's two Mickeys
Yeah.
alive.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very comedic. I'm planning on reading Devil's Reign, the
Oh,
Daredevil
the
story.
Chip Zdarsky run, right?
Yes, I was just talking to Nick about it on Friday, and he was telling me how it's kind of like a trilogy, pretty much, where there's the lead up, which is super, super important. Then there's actually Devil's Reign, and then there's After Devil's Reign, which I think he recommends it, like I should check out.
Hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, there's an omnibus, so I'll look into that. And then I
Okay.
think Amir and I were
Ultimates.
gonna do a discussion. Yes,
Yes, that's really
Ultimates,
interesting.
Ultimatum, and then I think we'll do a discussion on Fantastic Four Life Story
Yeah,
because
I'll
he
get the
finished
book.
reading that.
Yeah, I'll get
Yes,
that read fast so I can be in that video too. I'm curious to hear
yes,
your thoughts on the Ultimates because I know Nick
yeah,
did not really like it, and Amir's mentality is Nick doesn't like it because it's changing the perspective of these characters, which to me it sounded very interesting. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on
yeah.
it. I'm really curious to hear
I
your thoughts on it.
I was in that. I heard their discussion about it on Friday. I think Amir is on one end of the spectrum and Nick is on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah,
So I want to read it for myself and see where I fall. Um, I'm very excited and very interested.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm very happy in this video we're able to talk about a Hulk book, trying to bring back our comic book club series. I think it's a fun way to try to bring to light certain stories I don't think the mainstream has read. Like Alvin mentioned, the other color series from Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, Spider-Man Blue, truly, truly amazing story. Do you know what it's about, Alvin?
I do not.
Okay, yeah. Well, once you look into that, I think you'll have a great time. I watched
Okay.
a whole video about it, reading it out loud. It's a phenomenal story, and I also watched a breakdown of Daredevil Yellow, also very great read. Um, I think just what the whole purpose of this is of these series of videos is just to try to encourage people to read more comic books because I think there are just truly uh, awesome reads and awesome stories to be told. Because I was telling Amir, one of my friends at school, he's a great guy, loves film, but he has this almost pretentious look on comic books that it can't really tell very deep stories. But I think if you take off those um, biased glasses and actually give one a shot, you'll be very surprised with how introspective, how deep, how well written these stories are. Um, that is awesome. It's truly great. It's truly great. I'm also trying to finish Doomsday Clock. I'll let you know how that is. Um, so far, it's not as good as the original Watchmen, but hopefully it ends well.
I expected
Uh,
that. I
yeah,
expected it wouldn't be
because I know
as
Nick
good.
likes it. Nick likes it. So I'm curious to see how they tie this into the mainline DC universe. I know people have read it. It's old, but yeah, that's what we're just trying to do on this channel. Just read more comic books and talk about it with our friends.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you have to say, Al, before we sign off?
I have one thing to say. I'm hulking out.
I'm hulking out. Hulk,
Yes.
Hulk, not monster. Can we say that? Hulk, not monster.
Yes.
Hulk, not monster.
Hulk, not
And
monster.
also, Betty should have told Hulk she loved him. I really kind of pissed me off. She never did.
Yeah, Batty Ross. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, not Thaddeus
Yeah.
Ross. Batty is Ross.
Yes.
Yes. You didn't know? Did
Yes.
you know that was his name?
I did know Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross was his name.
Yes.
I saw
Yes.
Captain America Brave New World.
Oh, you knew that from the movie? That's so lame.
No. No,
You
I'm a
didn't know
comic
that.
book reader.
I don't think
I
you
read
are.
comics.
I
I read
don't think you
comics.
do. I don't think you
I
do.
do.
But it's been
I
the
do.
What Would You Think crew. It's been me, Omid.
I'm Alvin.
It's Alvin. Thank you for watching this video with us. It's been a long one, and very happy to be back. Just trying to get some more videos out. So if you guys have any book recommendations for us to check out, feel free to drop in the comments. Give us a like if you can subscribe. That's awesome. We want to try to build a bigger community of just fellow superhero fans, movie fans, video game fans, just to have a place where we can all talk about the things we love. Take it easy, guys. It's been the What Do You Think crew. Have a good night.
Bye.